So it looks like Spanish people got a problem with passport bros.
If you happen to be heading to Barcelona this summer, be aware it's one of several cities in Southern Europe where locals are protesting against tourists. It happened
Tourists and Korean passport bros.
again yesterday. They're saying an avalanche of summer visitors is making it too expensive to live in these cities year-round. Some of the demonstrators are even spraying tourists with water guns, which on a hot day actually sounds kind of nice. Anyway, protesters are saying that a rise in short-term rentals is a big issue, pushing up housing costs by some 30% in some areas.
Whoa. Okay. That's a problem. Because we know the Spanish economy isn't that great compared to American economy, UK economy. So the pounds and the dollars is quite strong in Spain and in Barcelona. So we have a bunch of passport bros and tourists going there. And you know what? I vouch for Barcelona, right? From having a good time perspective. And you can find Colombian chicks in Barcelona. Okay? I've been there. It was amazing. All right? Great food too. However, the locals, right, don't really want us there from what we see. They're saying that we jack up the prices. They're saying that rentals go up, food goes up, and feel should we start being more empathetic towards local people? And I know I get it. Part of the whole P-bro experience, right, is using our stronger currency, pounds and dollars abroad, because it stretches out further and longer. But we're not thinking about the local people and how that affects them feel. Should we care about that feel, or should we say F it? I don't really care, bro. What's your thoughts, Theo?
Well, in Spain, their main visitors that they'd be complaining about would be the English. And so I would venture to say that they're talking more about English women than they're talking about English men or passport bros. That's what I would assume. So the Brits here are the ones to blame for the high prices. And they're bringing their pounds, and the Spanish economy is very depressed ever since the British destroyed the Spanish Armada back in the day. So blame this on the English crown if you want to. But you're not going to stop English women from vacationing in Spain. Not going to happen. So then the next question is, do English men want to be with Spanish women? And I would say the answer to that is overwhelmingly no. There's not really a demand, or you probably know more about this than I do. I wouldn't expect there to be any demand here. So in that case, yeah, I mean, it's kind of a lost cause. But they're not protesting against us, passport bros, that's for sure, because we don't go to Spain in numbers like that. We would, DR has by far more passport bros going to it than Spain.
Okay. So Sophia, you blaming us now, UK bros, for jacking up prices? You telling me Americans don't go to Barcelona, bro? You telling me that you ain't been there, bro? Bro, I'm sure you've been to Barcelona before, bro.
Yeah, but I didn't stay there for long. No, I mean, it's not an area where most Americans go. When Americans think about going to Europe, they're thinking about two countries, usually max. Yours and France. That's where we go. Maybe we go to Germany. Maybe we want to try something exotic. We try Spain. It's about as far as it goes. That's how Americans think. But few Americans actually go to Europe. If they're going to travel abroad, they go to Mexico, which is a joke. It's basically a state. I know they go to Canada, which is another joke. It's not really a country like that. It's basically another state from our point of view. Or if we want to get a little freaky, then we go to the Caribbean, which of course I say avoid, right? So that's where Americans go. Americans barely make it to Hawaii. So they're not going to Spain in large numbers. But you Brits, man, you got what, Ryanair? How many flights per day from Heathrow to Barcelona? That's a major route. Yeah, you got plenty of women going there. You get get a round trip. I think you get a round trip ticket, Ryanair to Heathrow to Barcelona. I think it's like 75 quid, something like that.
Correct.
It can't be more than that. Yeah, we don't have that opportunity. No, man. No, that's not how Americans think.
But if we apply this to non-Barcelona cities, right? So another cheap place is Thailand that a lot of Americans go to. Medellin, Colombia too, right? And I'm sure there's locals there that aren't happy that dollars may be jacking up the prices there in those countries. And is it fair to say that we're not thinking about the local people? I know it's great for us in their countries, right? But what about their lives? What about their quality of life, their cost of living, right? Because we have a stronger currency.
Because the Colombian government actively encourages American retirees to come over. Because they know that's a constant cash flow, and it actually helps the Colombian economy. So that I can't say that with Colombia. With Thailand, for the most part, they don't care. Got plenty of space. So I mean, it's not really jacking up the price at all. Not like there's going to be a food shortage. Spain might have an issue in some places, but they're going to keep on going. It's just the way it is. Before this huge tourist influx, the tourist influx really started from, I would say, the late 90s going to Spain. I remember that because I was in France in the middle 90s, and people were talking about that you should go to Spain. That should be the place. But, I mean, back in that time, unemployment in Spain was around 20%. So, yeah, they need the tourists. So if they have a problem, okay, fine. That's not really something that the English are going to care about. We're going to keep on going there. That's for sure.
Okay. Awesome. All right. So
I'm just used to so many English people talking about going to Spain on holiday. I've heard it so many times. That's just something that's very normal. I'm like, okay. I'm like, why did you go to Portugal? They're like, no, we like Spain. I'm like, all right. You know, there's something about Spain that English women in particular like. I'm not an English woman. I don't know. But they're the demographic I've heard going there the most.